Hi, Sean. Thanks.
Hello.
We got to it.
We did. We got there. What do you want to know?
Well, we've got 20,000 users in Divi Theme users.
You do, yes.
A few thousand customers on Elegant Marketplace, which is great news. And some of them do have issues with what's a taxonomy, for instance. You know, I know that developers know what they are, but, you know, give us a clue and tell us what a taxonomy is, if you can, in 35 seconds or less.
No. But okay, I'll try. Okay, so a taxonomy, the easiest way to describe it is with WordPress default, when you install it, you have posts for blog posts and pages and anything else. Posts and pages are called post types, but we're talking about taxonomies. So you'll notice when you hover over posts, you have categories and tags. You have the ability to, well, tag, for want of a better word, any what we call terms, but words basically to your blog post. So you might want to tag something as news or a case study or a press release. The collective term for categories, tags, and anything else you want to add are taxonomies.
Right.
What some people realize and what some people don't is that you can view archive pages of these. So if you wanted to, for instance, view all news items or all press releases on your website, you would visit what is officially known as a taxonomy archive page, but what you might understand to be the category page. So view the news category, which would be when you see what looks like a post, just a page on your site where you can send people just to view a list of all of your blog posts, case studies, etc.
Right. So the taxonomy layout injector would let you pretty that up with the Divi builder.
It's pretty much the whole point. Yeah. So the taxonomy layout injector, it's been around for quite some time now, although I have just pushed a big update to it. So with loads more different sort of styling options in the modules and things, and a few bugs fixed, but anything else. But so effectively what you do is you create a layout in the Divi library. If you haven't seen that before, you hover over Divi library, and you create a layout. And a layout is effectively a post or a page, but which is not attached to anything. So when you create it, it doesn't show on the front end of the site. It's just like a list of templates. You go ahead and create a layout, and the Divi builder is there. And you've got a bunch of custom modules that I've created, a bunch of the built-in ones, and you can make your header, your footer, your sidebar. You add in what I call my loop archive module, which I'll explain in a bit. I've gone into that one in more detail in other videos, but certainly can give you a quick overview. And then you save it. On saving, you can then visit the settings page and effectively apply that layout to a taxonomy or multiple taxonomies or anything else. So, for instance, the taxonomy layout injector plugin allows you could have one layout for categories, another layout for tags. You can also create custom taxonomies via other plugins, all free, or code snippets. It's really easy. If you wanted to, let's say, tag your pages with industry sectors or something like that, it just allows you to view different archives and things. You can apply just by way of a drop-down box, and you just choose the layout you created from a drop-down. Really easy. It's a set and forget system, I like to call them.
Right.
So you find the row relevant to categories, and you choose the layout you want, and you press save, and forget about it forevermore. Because then,
can you actually do that to any category? Say, okay, I want this category using this particular layout, or does it just apply it to every single category that you? So
by default, you can apply it to all categories, because obviously you don't really want to have to create a layout for every single category. That would get very, very tedious. But some people do, and in fact, that's especially apparent around things like products. If you're using WooCommerce and the Woo layout injector, different product, but same sort of base theory. You can create a product category, books, DVDs, and of course you might want to present your books in a different way to how you present your DVDs, for instance, or different fields showing and anything else. So I suppose the answer is yes, you can.
Good.
So with Taxonomy Layout Injector, there is a box that allows you to say, well, for this category we'll use that layout, and this category we'll use that layout. It's quite straightforward. It's just a big long list of drop-down boxes with one master one. So you set a main layout, which is used all over the place, so that nothing looks like the ugly default Divi category and tag pages, because they look awful. So that will override by default. And then, of course, you can override individual categories, tags, and other taxonomies as much as you like. So, yeah, really easy to use.
That's good. I think I've got that. I understand that, and I kind of...
Well, I hope so.
Did understand it before. So we've got something called a custom post type layout injector. So what's the difference between that and the taxonomy? Because it isn't a taxonomy. Aren't you making a custom post type out of the taxonomy by putting a builder in it?
No. Not really sure what you're saying there, so I'll explain. A custom post type, so anybody who's installed Divi will see in the back end a new menu item has appeared, projects. So that is effectively a custom post type. It is, if you think about, easy way to explain it is, if you're building a site for a client and they want a blog and a news feed, and they want some case studies and they want something else, you can separate them by using categories, taxonomies. Yeah, that's fine. But you don't have the level of control over those pages, and certainly not the single pages. So when you're viewing an individual case study, individual project, that you would do with a custom post type. Now, adding them is very, very easy. It's widely documented, and in my initial release video for CPT Injector, I referenced the use of a free plugin called Custom Post Type UI, but it's really straightforward. I think I've linked to it in the plugin documentation anyway, so don't worry about creating the post types. That's a 2-minute job. Again, set and forget. But custom post types themselves, so if I wanted to add a project, well, that comes with Divi anyway, but you don't like the project archive pages, again, same sort of thing. Taxonomies have archives, but also custom post types have archives, just like your blog page is an archive page for the posts.
Yeah.
Posts and pages are also post types. They're just built-in post types, and custom post type in itself means that you can make your own. There are loads of reasons to use this. I mean, for instance, WooCommerce creates a post type called products. Understandably, you want to keep products separate from blog posts and pages. You want to present them differently. Now, of course, that does it for you because it's built into the plugin. But you might want to do it yourself. For instance, if you're creating, I don't know, a directory website, a property listing website, you might want to create a post type for houses, or you might want to create one for directory items.
For cars or for...
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So
rooms, bed and breakfast, or...
Yeah. So take cars, for example. If you wanted to create a website to advertise and sell cars, again, you might want to have a blog on that website, so there's no real reason to use posts. You could use pages, but then that's intermingled with contact us, about us, homepage.
Sure.
It's a management nightmare, especially when you're going to have thousands of cars on there over the years. You don't want thousands of pages in the list. It's just unmanageable. So keeping things compartmentalized is a really big thing. And certainly, a few years down the line, you'll be kicking yourself for not making a custom post type from the outset, really. So cars, you create a post type called cars, and it's quite easy to do. You create your archive page in the same way that you would do with Taxonomy Injector. You just go and create in the Divi library, create your layout. You could even use an existing layout that you've used elsewhere. It doesn't really matter.
Sure.
As long as you use, again, we've got our loop archive module, which I'll come back to, which effectively loops through the... so if you're in an archive of 10 cars or 10 category pages or whatever, it would basically loop through those 10 times.
Right.
And you can have sidebars, footers, headers, sliders, whatever you wanted to. That would be the archive. But what CPT Injector or Custom Post Type Injector allows you to do is to also create single pages. So if you're looking at a specific car, again, you can decide where the featured image is going to go, where the title, the content, the custom fields. Intermingle that with the likes of Advanced Custom Fields. Is another free plugin for WordPress. I've also written a module for that to integrate that to the Divi Builder. You can get some really nice, effective-looking custom post type single pages. So your showcase of cars will look really, really good. All Divi Builder, no code whatsoever, and you've just done it all with drag and drop. So, really, really easy. Yeah.
Now on that, because this could be turned into a bore fest with, coding and what you're doing with stuff. But actually, you can now set up, not for you, because you're a developer. You live for programming, But the basis of this is that you've got a new support system as well. So can we have a look at that? Because that's something that we've been working on through, the marketplace and trying to offer support. And we've decided it's best that the developers offer the support. And you've actually gone that one step further and developed a beautiful support system. Which is
I'm not a designer in the slightest, but I have a brand, Tortoise IT. It's a boring brand, but it does the job, and so I can use greens everywhere, which is fine. I've got a documentation site now, which is I'm quite pleased with, actually. I think
it looks all right. I mean, it does what it says on the tin, doesn't it?
Well, high praise. It looks all right. Thanks a lot for that. So, I mean, I threw this together in Divi with a number of my own plugins, the injector plugins. Because we've got custom post types here for solutions. We've got my search injector powering the search box with the autocomplete. If I type license into there, for instance, there's a little search, takes me to the right place. It's quite nice. I do say so myself. I've got a plugins list at the top that allows you to just click on the specific plugin that you want to look at. There's more than that now. So that should be quite easy. I've also I've created a little grid of all the different products I've got there. Note 6 columns using my extended column layouts. Free.
Exactly,
yeah, really nice and easy because I wasn't with.
So on this system, people can start a support ticket now.
They can, that's a different site, but it's linked to from the ticketing system or the support tickets up here.
Sure.
But I mean, ideally, people would try and get the help they wanted from this site first because, I have to say, my documentation hasn't been wonderful over the years. But, I'm trying to build it up with this website here. For each product, for instance, if I click into Woo Layout Injector, I've got hopefully a relatively easy to follow, bit of information about it, which is very similar to what's on the product page.
Sure.
Logo, a link to the Elegant Marketplace product as well, so you can go and compare, contrast. A video, I've got a second one to add to that now. So you can I'll have a bunch of help videos here to kind of get people through common sort of things they'd like to do. I'm going to offer some free layouts for people. So when they are creating their archives and their single product pages, they can just download a file from here and import it and have I'd like to say pretty. I'll have to find a designer who wants to help me out. So any offers, please do get in touch. I'll get some videos here. I'll get some layouts. I've got some information here about getting single product archive pages, all sorts of different things.
So it's more than it was. It's more than just a product lying there and saying, "Okay, work it out yourself, guys." But let's not.
I've been there.
You work to an agile model of get it up there and get it out and work it out.
Is that the label for what I do? That's good. I just called it lazy most of the time. But I am a big fan of having an idea and getting it to market quickly.
Yeah,
money, but so people can start using it, and then I'm kind of the direction of development is then sort of driven by the community. Then,
and you've got let's not forget that the Divi sort of ecosystem is still pretty young, and Divi's being updated and bug fixes are coming out, daily, weekly, monthly, and it's really Divi themselves are trying to keep, or Elegant Themes themselves are trying to keep up with the pace as well.
Sure.
The developers to keep up with the pace after developing things like the layout injector and all kinds of stuff like that, and the Divi layout injector, for instance, the header, the footer, the pre-content, all that kind of stuff.
That's my sort of flagship first product.
It's changed the way people design. I know that certainly some child theme developers are loving it, and
we've got we have some developers who bundle it with them, and they incorporate my plugin into their design process, which is really great. I mean, I have to say, thank you. I mean, Elegant Marketplace I will go as far as to say changed my life because without this audience of people and this sort of demand, I've been developing for a long time, but we have a lot of people who are very, very clear about what they like to see Divi, which is already a brilliant theme. But it's great. You know, I don't use anything else these days. I've given up taking on work where I'm using the likes of Avada and the X theme, which I just can't use. I don't know. I like simplicity. The other look at the likes of Visual Builder these days. Yes, it's probably more functional and it's more flexible, but it's not easy to use. It's slow. I mean, I've never used the front-end builder, I have to say. It's not. I'm a coder.
There's some benefits to using the front-end builder, and we've got.
Yes,
I'm not going to plug too much our DDD3 course, but certainly people will see the benefits between using the back-end builder and the visual builder as well. And now that the Elegant Themes have brought out, or they're bringing out, I don't know whether it's out yet, but the syncing between if you've got two windows open, one with the back-end builder open and the visual builder open as well, the syncing is going to be there. So there's, people losing their layouts. But it's just good practice. If you're going to use the visual builder, don't have the back-end builder open at the same time. It just seems...
I think it falls into the realms of common sense, but it's nice that they're putting the effort in. It's very much going the extra mile there, really, isn't it? Where I'm sure it's great. I've used it a couple of times, but for the sort of thing that I do... I'm very logical, codey. I like to see blocks, and so blocks work for me.
Yeah. No, the visual builder is really coming together. It's getting, it's like a learning curve, Sean. Anything like one of your plugins or one of any plugin, WooCommerce. There's people have problems with variations. They don't understand how to, price them up or how to make a variation on WooCommerce. But basically, And what you've allowed people to do now is read the manual. If you read
RTFM, yeah, indeed.
Yeah, well, exactly. If you read the manual for Divi, you will really become a top Divi WordPress designer and developer. But you've got to read the manual. And part of the reason for, I think, the success of the DTU group is because other people have read the manual and they can say, okay, but this is how you do it.
Yeah, it's great to have such a big community of people together.
Phenomenal. And it's like herding cats sometimes, but it's fun. I've got to say,
it is. And we obviously see a lot of the same questions asked and answered, and but that's fine because it's. I like to sort of lurk in the group and answer questions. I'm not just there to plug my products. I genuinely want to help people out.
Sure.
I think, and there's so many other developers and around who are doing the same thing.
It's incredible, actually, the amount of developers that are out. I'm not going to give anyone a shout out because it's not fair on anybody that we meet.
About me. This is a video about me. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about you. But you and N number of developers.
There's loads. I get on and help people when I can, but we've got 20,000 people. If you've got a question, there's 20,000. I was at 19,999 other people who may know the answer.
Exactly.
And it's strength in numbers, really.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think there's any other sort of community of the same size that. Well, I know I think every group is going to offer the support, but more people you have, the more expertise you've got there, the more people that are going to.
I think so. I think the different Facebook groups around Divi, around WordPress, around Advanced WordPress, around WooCommerce, I think it's fantastic.
I'm in a few
community,
but
it's great. Right, moving swiftly on. I'm going to interrupt you there because moving swiftly on. I want to talk about your two new plugins because we've seen
those ones, right? Okay, they're little. Yeah, go on.
I want to talk about. I think you've added something to Slick Slider, which will mean testimonials are a little easier, or
it facilitates it quite a lot. So I've had a carousel slider, so I don't really call it a slider, because you've got the likes of, you've got Layer Slider and Revolution Slider, which, are sliders, and that's what they do. Mine is simpler, and that's not a criticism of my own work. I actually wanted it to be easier in that respect to use. I struggle with a lot of slider plugins, and frankly, if I wanted a slider, I just use the built-in slider that comes with Divi. There's a full screen one and a normal one. That's what more do you need? So, but others will disagree, and that's fine. But I very rarely use big sliders all over the site. And if I just wanted a homepage slider, I just use the built-in one. But for carousel, I think a carousel has its place in the market and in the community because, a carousel is a slider showing multiple items. You might immediately look at the homepage of Elegant Marketplace currently. We've got a carousel showing 4 products, and each time it cycles, it will move one notch to the left, as it were, and you'll see a new one will appear. I think actually that I like that feature. I think it's a really nice way of presenting pictures, of text, of ideas, anything really.
And it works. We've done some hot spotting on there, and it works.
Yeah, well, good. The Carousel plugin is based on a jQuery library called Slick, and that's been around for quite some time, open source, and I've converted that into a Divi module because what do we all like? We don't want to use shortcodes these days. We want to use Divi modules because why not? It's easy. You want drag and drop. Yeah. We want options. We want advanced design settings, and that's what I've done. So I've apparently I've got some points there. Great. Sorry, look at my emails coming through.
Turn your email off. You're in a meeting.
I thought I did. Never mind. People always find a way to get in touch, regardless of how many avenues of communication I disable. So anyway, right. So I like my a carousel. I think it's great. It's nice. It's what people don't realize though is when that plugin was released, it just did. You add an image and it cycles as many images as you've got in the same way. What I've done since then is added a module for WooCommerce to allow you to have a carousel of product gallery images. Allows you to have a carousel of easy digital downloads, featured products, I believe. And the more recent addition is this familiar term, loop archive again. I do it a lot, and I think it's a really nice way of building things because it's sort of infinitely configurable, really. But there is a module which I added a few versions ago called the Slick Loop Archive, and that will enable you to go and build a layout somewhere, a layout for a slide, in effect. I call it a loop item, but a slide is the easiest way of describing it.
Sure. And
that can be 2-3 columns. Well, I tend to think one or 2 columns is enough. Where you'll have your title if you wanted to, a featured image, perhaps some text. And text, of course, is where we're going to be using it for the testimonial. So, and that will allow you to, let's say, cycle 3 case studies or blog posts in a. We have the post slider that comes with Divi. What happens if you wanted to show more than one at a time? What happens if you wanted to show a different post type? It doesn't support that, but the carousel does. So I thought, well, okay, bit of lateral thinking here. What can we present in a carousel that people will really like? And testimonials just kind of came to mind. Now it's been done to death. There are loads of testimonials.
There are tons out there. There's, you go to Envato, there's a list of about 60. But
there's loads, and there's a few for Divi. But the thing is, I'm not selling you a testimonials plugin. Yes, I am effectively selling a testimonials plugin, but I'm selling you the power of the Slick Carousel. And it's great, actually. I've created a small bridge plugin, so it is very, very lightweight, so it's not slowing down any sites. I'm not including any superfluous CSS or JavaScript. This plugin creates a post type and some extra fields called, would you believe, testimonials. And I've created another video, which is not very good, but it is explanatory, which will show you how to create your Slick slider on any page you like, and basically loop through testimonials. So within 5 minutes of activating it, you'll be viewing a rolling list of testimonials on your site. And the great thing about it is that because we're using this sort of loop archive model that I've created, your testimonials can show pictures, they can show text, they can show titles, they can show nothing. You can use all the different styling options within the Divi Builder. And so I'm not telling you how your testimonials are going to look. You're going to do it yourself.
You can design it yourself using Divi Builder, which is great, isn't it?
Yeah, but if you're not a designer, I'm not a designer. You look at the video, you'll see what I create. It's awful. But it's functional, and most people have a color scheme, and I find that just show it, but you have a section with a background color and just running a carousel of just white backgrounded text boxes and titles with testimonial text. That looks really good. So when you're adding to that, it's going to look great. And you know, we've got loads and loads of designers in the Divi theme users group, and anybody else that's going to be looking at the plugin. And so, you know, I don't feel that I need to dictate to you how it's going to look, because everyone knows, you know, it's a testimonial slider. You know, but you can have one slide showing, you can have 3 or 4 at a time. You know, it's quite good actually.
Brilliant.
It actually brings me
quite nicely to your next plugin.
The next plugin, yeah. So the next plugin. How are we doing for our half an hour here? 18
We're
minutes.
struggling.
Oh God.
We always would.
Yeah, that's fine. So the final plugin is and I've written it down because I keep forgetting the name. I've called it
I've got a police car or an ambulance going by, so excuse. I'm not going to edit that out. It's just
that's fine.
Suburbia.
It's just taking away this name. So I've called it my SB Divi Contact Form DB. Now, in short, it's a contact form database plugin for Divi. That's all you need to know.
We might have to rename that.
I may do. In fact, I've called the post type the Divi DB.
Well, there's a certain, in Google search engine terms, there's a certain kind of limit on characters, and I think you've overdone that by about 20.
I tend to. I mean, you know, why why say something in one word when you can use a paragraph? Hey, that's me. But that's okay. That's what editing is for. But anyway, the point is, this is a contact form DB. Now, many people I've seen so many complaints about the built-in Divi contact form, but I have to tell you, I use it on every single site that I write for people. Why on earth do you want to include a plugin like Caldera Forms, Gravity Forms, any of the other? There's loads of popular ones out there for the sake of a contact form. It's one form, and you might have. I mean, on my site, I've got a high. I mean, there's a lot of flexibility. Don't get me wrong. I'm not criticizing the plugins.
Well, we have, you know, in Elegant Marketplace, we have KK Divi modules, which has a contact form. We've got a contact form CRM.
Yeah, a few going.
And we've got CST contact form, which also has a CRM.
So it's been done, yeah?
It's been done, but if you don't want to buy those plugins, which I can completely understand why, but, you know, I love them. I mean, I love KK Divi Mods.
I'm sure they're great.
It's got so much more than the form, and KK Divi Mods CRM. You know, I get it. But as a marketplace, I think we have to be able to offer alternatives as well. You know, we've got multimodal plugin.
Yeah.
Your Divi pop-up modal.
Yeah, I mean, it's freedom of choice.
Other plugins coming out that are modal and overlays and stuff, which hopefully will soon be on the marketplace as well. And I think it's about choice, actually, Sean. It's not it's about choice. So
yeah, sure.
Just to kind of alleviate anybody's worries that we're going to have a mix of plugins that do the same thing. This is a bit different, I think. Yeah,
you know, I mean, this has a slightly different sort of unique selling point. I mean, that I'm not trying to convince people to use other plugins for contact forms, or I'm saying that I'm quite satisfied with the one that comes with Divi. And although, you know, if you wanted, I mean, the one that, for instance, the contact form that comes with Divi doesn't allow you to upload files and things, and that's where different other people's contact forms and things will come into play, and they'll come into their own, and they've got all sorts of bells and whistles with them, and that's great. I'm actually, again, for my contact forms I use, and I keep things nice and simple, so I like to have a name, an email, a message, and a couple of the text fields, maybe phone number, company, that sort of thing. But I don't feel the need to add a plugin for that. Now, if you do, great. There are solutions available for you. This plugin does not modify the contact form that's built into Divi. Does not affect the deliverability, the layout, the styling, anything at all. This is on the back end. So, I mean, I've seen people talking about the deliverability issues around the contact form. That simply means basically you need to add an SMTP plugin.
Yeah, that's nothing to do with Divi. That's a
that's
WordPress, PHP, mail function.
It's actually a server. Yeah, it's a server. Now, there are ways and means. I've never had an issue. But, I mean, hopefully, with this plugin, whether or not it misses the odd email, absolutely irrelevant, because what my plugin does is it does what it says in the tin. It's a contact form database. It stores submissions. So when you submit on any number of contact forms around your site, Could be a contact form, could be something used for front-end submission, which I'll talk about shortly. You submit a contact form, you fill your name, details, message, do the capture, press go. And then that's where most people, most users will then forget about it and hope they get a response soon.
Sure.
My plugin captures that submission. So the email still goes out. You'll still get the email. I capture the submission and I store it in a custom post type. I'm storing it in the database.
We got a screen grab that we can have, or a screen.
I can go into. Oh, really suss out to share this screen again. You've caught me off guard here. Give me a second, and I'll see what I can do. So, I mean, here we go. wp.dev. Right. Hopefully my local site is working quickly now. So it stores it in the database, and it stores all the associated information and allows you to do some stuff with it, which I quite like the idea of. We have a there we go. We have a post type here called DivvyDB. I'm hoping you can see my screen. If not, I'm doing this for nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, good.
We can see that.
So we have our DivvyDB, and we click into it, and we see a bunch of submissions here. As you can see, this Sean person is quite persistent. And he wants to get in touch. So what we're actually seeing is a bunch of submissions here that I've sent in through testing. Now, I've got information like where the email address is of the person that got in touch, just to help differentiate. I have this red feature, accountability is quite important, particularly when, especially around sales. And so when a contact form is submitted, it goes in as unread. Now, of course, you may read the email, and that's fine. But when you log into the back end of the site, we've got a nice big red banner at the top that tells you, oh, you've got a contact form or multiple contact form submissions that need to be dealt with. And on viewing it, it will mark it as read. Now we have the fact that I read it, and this is the date that I read it. Cloned, I'll come back to. That's quite a nice feature. Yeah. And submitted on. Now, of course, you'll see testimonials here and contact form. Now, let's say I've got a contact form on my testimonials page. I've got one on my contact page. I've got one elsewhere. It logs the page on which you submitted that form. So quite useful. And of course, if you hover over it, you can click and go and view that page as well. But just like with email, you can email them back and you can view the submission. So if we view the testimonial one that I added here, what we're going to see is the fact that I read it on a certain date, which is great, useful information. And obviously the meat of the submission here. So it's got all, I've just got rid of it. There you go. I'll open it up again. There you go. And Groupon, apparently. It's got the... I did turn it off. We've got the...
always looking for a bargain.
Well, yeah. Yeah, no money these days. Spend all my time doing this. So we've got the information that comes with the contact form and the date of submission, which is quite useful information. I'm sure you'll agree. Yes. But that's not where the fun ends. So we've got our extra information, who submitted it and on what page. Now, I submitted it, but that's not going to say Sean. That's going to say the name of the person that did it. Now, obviously, they're locked out. It's not going to show that because we haven't got an ID, and so we can't show it. But if they happen to have a user account and they submit something, you'll be able to see who it is and view their profile and see what other contact forms they've submitted, how many testimonials they've submitted, how many general contact form, how many support tickets they've put in. And so you've got a big long list there to play with. Cool. Obviously, if it's submitted on, we can view the page or we can edit it and play around with that. We've got a big chunk here of debug information. Everyone loves a PHP array, and that's for those sorts of people who want to see all the nitty-gritty information about it. It's really a bit of fun, but that's at the bottom there, just so if you're interested, you can have a look. We've got this section here. Now, again, this is sort of one of the main reason that I'm going to be using this around my different sites is the booking reply. Oh, there you go, Michelle Noonan. She's always after me. We've got the... I'll close them up again. What's going on? Okay, we've got this reply by email. So you click on that, and it'll just open up your email client. You can go and reply to this particular person. This is my email address there. Yeah. Or this copy to another post type. Now, this is this clone feature that I've been talking about. Now, this allows you to turn any contact form submission into any other post type. So we've got WooCommerce active here. We've got testimonials. We've got products, and we've got projects. So let's say we copy to another post type. we can copy this submission here to any other post type that we've got on the site. It could be a blog post, it could be a page, it could be a project, a product, a testimonial. Choose from there. And this section here then allows us to map our contact form fields onto, obviously, post fields. So, for instance, the name, you might want the name to be either a custom field, which is picked up perhaps in the testimonials plugin, or you just want it to be the name of a, or the title of the blog, the post you're creating. So, to put that against the title, email, we can have that as a custom field. You could type in the email as the name of the meta key, which I can explain that, guys. I do explain that in my other video.
Sure.
And the testimony itself can be the content. And as you can see, I've already cloned this because it tells me the clone history. The fact that I've cloned it previously is showing that actually I've already cloned this to a testimonial. Now, it's quite nice that we can see the originating contact form request going into the testimonial. I can view and edit that one accordingly. I can do it again, do it as many times as I want. Now, this is a post I've gone into now. So I've got my view and edit buttons up here now, successfully copied. But if I go to copy to another post type, I can do it again. Or I can view the fact that I've actually cloned it twice, once into testimonials, once into posts. If I view that,
have a look at that, and is that? I mean, you just have.
I've been playing with my injector plugins, I think.
Right.
But that's okay. But in fact, what we saw then, if I go to my Divi layout injector, which I think is what that was, we should be able to. It wasn't that at all. But let's just have a look at my post there. Video example is the one I just created. It's in there as a draft in posts. Testimonial for video, it's great, was the text I put in, and video example. Now the metadata is also stored in custom fields. There you go, like email, barton.gmail.com. That's all. So all I've got to do now is press publish, and I've got a post. And that could be a testimonial, could be a case study. Now, what I've done is, for this example, just to lead on from that a little bit, is on my testimonials page, I have my testimonial slider there, looking a bit dull, but it does the job.
Yeah.
And I have my submit a testimonial form. And that's just using my Slick Carousel plugin with the
automatically goes in there once you've copied it across.
It does, yeah. So in fact, if I've got my video example, that testimonial for video, it's great, was the previous clone I did for my other video the other day.
Yeah.
And I could submit one now. And in fact, we can just do Sean and Andy. I'll just use my email address again for speed, Tortoise IT, and I'll just say another one for the video. Spelled correctly. There you go. Do some maths, 25. And hope that I got my maths right. There we go, good. And if I go back and view the Divi DB again, not only do you see the fact I've got this big red banner at the top of the site to say I've got an unread contact form submission, I can go and view it if I want, or mark them as read if I've got loads and it's getting frustrating, and I can just click that. But if I go down to my Divi DB page, I've actually got an unread here, which is clearly shown by the fact I've got a closed envelope there, and it's testimonial, so I can go and view my submission, see what I just wrote, another one for the video, Sean and Andy, and I can go and convert that straight into a testimonial by going posts, testimonials, the name, I'll have the title, and the testimonial, I'll have the content, I'll ignore the rest, and I'll click copy. That then copies. I then go and have a look at my video again. Here we go. And hope it's in the list so I don't look stupid. Oh, nearly. Video example, testimonial for video. It's great. There you go. Got another one there. If I refresh a few more times. This is going to show a random example, a random 5. I think I've set it up to. And I'm looking for Sean. Oh, it's not. I haven't. I've got to publish it. What am I doing? Oh no.
If you're making mistakes, how can anybody else hope?
That's why you watch the video. That's why you watch it. Oh no! Here we go. I've published it. Now let's pray that this is now showing on the page. There you go. Look, Sean and Andy.
Brilliant. Okay, so the trick is there
publish your post
to avoid schoolboy errors like leaving it in draft.
yeah, basically. But
that's really. That's amazing, really. So you've got your testimonial Slick Slider, you've got your form DB, which you can reply to within WordPress.
Yeah.
Things that I thought of that you could do is if you're stuck on the train or something and you've got your free Wi-Fi on your train or you're stuck in wherever on a coach or, you know, somewhere where you're not driving, you can actually write yourself a little, you know, WordPress has this great thing where you can send yourself an email of a post.
Yeah.
So you could use this basically to write stuff on your laptop and just have it.
Submit it to yourself.
Submit it to yourself, basically, and then you know, rearrange it when you get back to a desk or
I mean, that's
on your iPad or something, or even on your phone.
But I mean, if you think about these community-driven websites that allow users to submit content, for instance, write us a blog post, you know, submit us this, that, and the other. You know, have you spotted something somewhere, whatever, you know, you have a very simple contact form on the front end of the site, you know, it will log their submission to the database in the same way. And as we can see from the DVDB I've got here, you know, I've only got testimonials and contact form, but you might have all sorts of different submissions there. You know, submit your post, submit your page, you know. It doesn't matter. It's just a contact form. For instance, on my own site, I've got a hire me form where I'm asking for people to fill out a form to get a quote. Sure. And I've got a normal contact form. So, of course, the details that I'm asking for on those forms are therefore different. And so I'm going to be able to differentiate those by looking at the submitted on column here. So, you know, and of course the fact that I've got this big red banner, which is gone now because I've read it, you know, it bugs you. It'll get annoying, but that's the whole point. You know, people get in touch with you, you want to be able to reply, or at least acknowledge the fact that they've...
Well, I mean, I think Caldera and Gravity Forms have this kind of thing built in, and that's to get around the fact that sometimes emails don't go through, so you can log onto your website and see whether or not...
They do. As I understand it, they don't have the banner. I mean, it's not a major feature, but it's useful. I have to say, you know, if I'm using a site every day and someone is contacting me, I'm perhaps on the site, I'm not checking my inbox every 2 minutes. And therefore, you know, a big banner showing up to say you've got a contact form submission is probably going to be quite useful for me. Yeah. But you're right. I mean, you know, Caldera, great plugin. You know, Gravity Form's a great plugin. I've been using them, Gravity Form, certainly for years.
Yeah, definitely.
It is a big plugin, though. And do I want a big form builder plugin for the sake of one form? Not really.
No.
And that's where, you know, the likes of the KK range of plugins comes into play as well. So, you know, I'm not saying that this is the only plugin available. Far from it. This is late to the market. But what I'm trying to offer is a relatively, you know, a low-cost solution for what, for me, will be a plugin that grows. I mean, I'll add a lot more functionality to this plugin as time passes.
Yeah.
And
well, that's it. I mean, you know, you're being, as normal, you're being pretty agile. You're getting out there, and you're using user experience really to expand upon it. And on that,
yes.
You have a lot of plugins, so you can stop sharing your screen now.
Thank you. On my emails, I can start replying to
What are we going to say to the people that say, can we bundle some of these plugins? Can we put them together? Say, you know, we've got 5 plugins, they're $22 each. Can we do those 5 plugins at $97 or $105 or whatever it might work out? And it's not a monetary thing. It's something that, you know, I've been meaning to address to the community of why we're not bundling Sean's plugins, and it basically isn't a monetary thing. It's
I mean,
thing more than anything else. I think
it's just to make the plugins more accessible. I mean, bear in mind that Elegant Marketplace sells worldwide. We have people who buy these plugins from the States, from the UK, who can drop $10-20 on a plugin and not be bothered about it. You know, we have some people though who spend that sort of money, and that's a week's wages, and they need the plugin to do the job. And I don't want to make I tell you what, I would love for all my injector plugins to be the Divi injector and to be one plugin. The sad reality is that that if I did that plugin, I would have to charge, like you say, $100 or something for it. And you know, who is going to buy an injector plugin for $100 when they can buy a child theme for $30 or $50 or $100 or whatever? And the whole point is I want my plugins to be accessible. Now, it is a real pain in the backside, I have to say, keeping the updates apparent across all the injector range. Now, I've kind of finished now, I think, with all the different types. I mean, I don't want to be beating the same drum for years here, and I will extend these plugins as much as I possibly can to incorporate every other type of content. I mean,
so we've addressed the bundling, why you're not doing bundling. I agree with you. I absolutely love the fact that we are accessible to everybody across the world. You know, I often get emails saying, "Can you lend me this plugin? And when I've earned the money, I'll pay you for it." And sometimes I give in, and sometimes I don't. You know?
Oh, I do all the time. Yeah, I get emails from people.
You know that people in certain parts of the world literally do not have two pennies to rub together, and you want to, you know, take out the genuine ones, you know, against the non-genuine ones.
Yeah.
And we, you know, we can spot them a mile away. But the thing is that you've done a great job, Sean. Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And I think there's a lot of out there in the community that want to say thank you as well. And this is part of the video as well, because it's not just about the technicalities of it. It's not just about, you know, making your page look better. It's about who's building these plugins and why they're building these plugins. And,
yeah, sure.
You know, creating an ecosystem that will help you use Divi to its full potential. What's next?
What's next? Well, I mean, before I start going and spending a lot more time and writing more, I'm going to revisit my existing plugins. So actually what I've done over the last couple of weeks, but in fact put them all on the website yesterday, was to do major updates. Divi Layout Injector has a new settings page. It's got auto updates built in. It's got I'm going to incorporate a few more features before I throw the next version out, but I'll keep those to myself. I've updated custom post type injector. I mean, one thing I didn't say earlier was that one thing that it can do, which I think is brilliant, is you can use it to set default layouts for simple post types, like posts and pages, for instance. So if I'm creating a site for a client and they happen to have a blog, I'm going to create a blog layout and just leave it there. So if they create blog posts and choose not to use the page builder, then those pages are not going to look like the Divi default. Now, if they do use the page builder, then obviously, you know, it'll look like the page builder, which is it's best of both worlds. Also, it works on pages. So if you're building a site, a very basic one, for instance, where you've got a homepage layout and some internal pages which all might look the same, you can design a layout, a template, something in the Divi library, and apply that to pages in much the same way. If you choose not to use the page builder on pages themselves, then it will lay it up. You know, back in the olden days, before page builders, we had a page.php file in Vim, and all pages would look like that. And that's what I like, the ability to do that, because I do a lot of little sites for people. And why am I laying out? Why am I saving a layout in the library and loading it on every single page? I just want to do it once and set it. Yeah. So CPT is a big plugin for me. Search Injector is going to get a lot better. Search Injector, I've built in autocomplete searches. You can have multiple post type searches already. So on the Elegant Marketplace site, we have a blog page. Yeah, we've got a blog search with autocomplete, which I really love, and we've also got, and thanks to Melissa Love actually for that one, because she asked about a plugin that did it, so I went and wrote it. Thanks for the idea, Love. But there is also a product search. So we've used the same plugin. We've used the form module that comes with Search Injector to provide a search that will allow you to, even on one page, just search in one box for products and one box for posts. And you can have different looking search results pages by post type if you want. So that does a lot. But what I want to do is actually incorporate functionality for my Search Injector plugin to be able to search using advanced custom fields, multiple taxonomies, for instance. So our property search example, our car website, the missing piece of the puzzle is an advanced search page where people can say, well, I want the price range to be that, I want the location to be that, maybe we want to show our results on a map. So I've got loads of things I can do around the Search Injector plugin. The Advanced Custom Fields plugin was long due an update, and of course all this competition coming along. The modal plugin, unfortunately, is going to need some of my time as well.
Okay, so that's it. And one thing actually we didn't go into was Divi Layout Injector and how actually with Divi Layout Injector, you can set it up within your dashboard, and you've got a nice new dashboard now. So I recommend people go and have a look at that.
Yeah, it's relatively pretty.
But also on every single page, you can select an injector in those 4 different positions that you've got.
You can, yeah. You could do that with Woo Injector
and on post.
But yeah, post. So I mean,
so you can have, like in Woo Layout Injector, you can have a different product display or a different product if you like. So if you've got a car, you've got a different way that you want to display that to if you've got a bunch of T-shirts. Yeah, it's there. I mean, it's all about choice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, well, I'm gonna make a choice. I'm going to say that we could talk for days on this. Absolutely.
Oh, you're getting rid of me, aren't you, Andy? Right.
No, I'm not trying to get rid of you. I'm just trying to say, right, that's enough for now. But you're always welcome to come back. I'm not as good at this as Eileen is. Obviously, I don't ask the pertinent questions.
The hard-hitting questions. No.
I think we've covered pretty much every area. We've given you an opportunity to tell people why you're not going to update or why you're not going to
bundle them,
why you don't do that. And I think that was quite crucial. Where the actual, I love the fact that you've got all your support documentation, and please, let's hope all the other developers kind of take notice of that. I know that certain developers have definitely got, Melissa has always had her own support system. Michelle's got another support system going on and stuff like that. So it's difficult, isn't it, for everybody to keep up to date. Even us, let me tell you, with all the new products being launched. I think we launched 11.
I don't envy your job.
And do my day job as well. And sort of, as I say, 11 products this week we've had to launch, and different price changes and sales going on, and happy birthday Nick Roach and Valentine's Day and all that kind of stuff. So we're busy people. So we've got to presume that other people are busy people, and we've got to thank them for their time for watching this. Thank you for letting me persuade you to come to the marketplace. I appreciate it. I really do.
Oh, thank you.
And I'll speak to you soon, probably in about 5 minutes.
Thanks very much.